The Soviet Union eliminated inflation, unemployment. They had eliminated racial and national discrimination. They had eliminated severe poverty. They had eliminated large inequalities in wealth distribution, education, as well as opportunity. In 50 years, went from being 18% of the U.S. industrial output to 80% and 85% of the U.S.'s agricultural output.
Right. Russia's economy at the time of the Bolshevik Revolution was roughly equivalent to that of Brazil's.
In terms of like economic development,
power, industrial development, whatever, it was roughly equivalent to Brazil's.
Yeah, I mean, pre-revolution Russia was like feudal. Like there was some basic
agrarian.
industrialization in the big cities, but it was largely like peasants growing crops.
But my point is, like, look at Brazil and its development over the years, and where it is now, or where it was in the 70s or 80s, and compare that to the Soviet Union, and you're talking about like ridiculous. I mean, from let's say Brazil to at least competition to the United States.
Yeah, competition.
Years.
You're talking about 80 to 85%. That's basically equals.
Basically,
close enough. Free education was available for everyone, from kindergarten through secondary schools, universities, and after-work schools. Those that continued education after secondary school received living stipends, which essentially meant that they didn't have to work or didn't have to work as hard while they were getting educated. There was free healthcare. There was free healthcare for everyone, with, like in Cuba, more doctors per person than the USA at the time. Injured and sick workers had guaranteed jobs. They had guaranteed sick pay. By the mid-1970s, workers averaged 21.2 days of vacation a year. Averaged.
Yeah.
That's wild. I get like...
Every family had basically what amounted to a timeshare.
Where
they were allowed to go to the mountains or the beach or whatever and spend 14 days or 30. Like some of them had like a full 30 days off in some.
Yeah, the 21.2 days is an average. Yeah.
Right.
Man, I'm a public school teacher. I get like 3 or 4 like paid days off during the year. Yeah. And that's only because the fucking union fought tooth and nail for that.
My last job, I had to work 2 years before I could get 7 days off.
Wow.
2 years before I could have any vacation time. So as you were saying, resorts were either free or they were heavily subsidized, so that they were very much affordable, as well as sanitariums, as well as children camps where they could go like hang out with other kids and like hang out at the beach or whatever it should be. There was no segregating by housing at all. Some government officials lived in neighborhoods together, but at the same time, plant managers, nurses, professors, janitors would live side by side. There is no, the north side of town like it is here, versus the south side of town. That didn't exist. The highest income gap was 10 to 1. And the highest paid...
Just saying that is like so wild to me.
Wacky. And the highest paid citizens were not politicians or CEOs. They were artists, professors, writers, and scientists. Okay?
That's fucking wild.
Again, this is all the way up to 1985, so it's not like this was deteriorating and tapering off. This was when Gorbachev took place. Trade unions, again, this is a big talking point amongst anti-communists, is the lack of criticism of the party.
Yep.
But I would rather not be able to criticize Donald Trump and be able to criticize my boss.
Right.
Because trade unions had the power to veto firings and recall managers.
Man,
so if they're like,
that's
nope, yeah. So again, it's all about perspective. This one is my favorite. Rent was only 2 to 3% of the family budget.
The rent is too damn low! Oh, I mean, no, the rent is exactly where it should be.
2 to 3%?
Yes.
That's wild.
If they was bothered to be collected at all.
Utilities cost between 4 and 5%.
Utilities were higher than rent?
Yes, we're higher than rent.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine
But still,
spending like
all of that
$500 on your fucking rent for a year?
All of that combined is less than 10% of the family budget. Books, periodicals, cultural events were all intentionally kept low to encourage attendance, and most Soviet citizens owned their own library, as well as an average of about 4 periodicals.
So listen, so you're saying all this, but like they lacked freedom.
They were not.
So wait, how many colas could they?
The CIA admitted that the caloric intake of the Soviet citizens was equal to that of the United States, except that caloric intake was more healthy than what U.S. citizens got.
Exactly, and
we
that's
get the same amount of calories, or we did.
They're not going to tell you that in the mainstream media.
But
Alex Jones knows.
That's indicative of this lifestyle that Justin's talking about, where all these things are taken care of for you. So you say, okay, well, I have time to cook a meal. You know, I have time to really like go and learn about how to make myself healthier or like cook good food. Whereas right now I work 2 jobs. I finished both of those jobs and I'm gonna eat shitty. I'm gonna eat something that's quick and easy. And like I'm a trained cook, but there are times when I just don't want to put the effort into making food because I have been working for 14 hours today. Like that's where, you know, you see you can eat 2,000 calories in a day in one meal from McDonald's.
Right.
Whereas in the Soviet Union, they could have eaten 20 or 2,000 calories a day, and it would have been 3 wholesome, nutritional meals throughout that day because they were given the opportunity to learn about and know how to cook things and eat healthy and like live better lives. Yeah. And then I think that leads into what you were going to say about like what they spent their freedoms on.
Yes. For example,
they took their freedom coupons out and said, "Yes, please,
give me
Mr. Stalin, I would love some freedoms.
Give me 5 freedoms, please." Anyway, UNESCO, which is like the United Nations education segment, reported that Soviet citizens read more books and saw more films than any other peoples. So every year, more than half of the population attended museums, just museums. Attendance at theaters, concerts, and other performances surpassed the total population, which means that everybody's going to at least one movie, concert, whatever.
Play?
Yeah. In 1985, which is at the point at which Gorbachev takes power, 35 million people were involved in the Soviets, which were the workers' councils.
Yeah.
They had the power over production goals, dismissals, and their own schools and resorts.
But I thought they were undemocratic.
Because they can't criticize Orange Man, but at least they have control over their workplace.